Joining me right now is the senior member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Oklahoma Senator James Inhofe. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Nice to be with you, Maria.
So you were at the border recently. Your reaction to the developments this morning, and where are we in terms of that wall?
Well, let's keep in mind that we went through, and you're talking to the right person. I was a builder and developer down on the border for about 20 years, so I know the border, I know the Border Patrol, I know what they're doing. Well, I think that you have to look at the overall picture here, and that is we just came back from a president who was inviting people to come into this country and come into the country legally or illegally. It didn't make any difference. Let's keep in mind that between the last 2 years of the Obama administration, it increased the applications for asylum by 200%. Now, the case that you're talking about right now, yeah, we know that we have a lot of the criminal element that's coming through. We have no way of stopping it. And one of the reasons I went back down there, Maria, because there are some easy solutions to the problem. And I have one that we're introducing actually today that we've been working on now for about 3 years.
And this is the bill aimed at easing the immigration backlog, right? Tell us about it.
Well, what it is, historically, and during the last administration, intentionally, they're allowing people to come through. Talk to the Border Patrol, they'll tell you this. They're saying that they'd come through, they made an application, they wanted an application for asylum to come into this country, and so they would say, fine, we'll give you a court date, and be sure to show up. Well, you know, 2 weeks from Thursday, the court date came, and they didn't show up. And so the vast majority of people didn't do it. They just were into our society, and they're out there now. As I mentioned, that increased by 200% in his last 2 years. Now, there's an easy solution to this thing, and that is the first step in applying for asylum to this country is to determine there is a credible fear that an individual has. Well, that determination should be made before they cross the border, because once they cross the border, they're in the United States. So we can do that in our consulates, we can do it in the embassies, and then at the same time, anyone who does not show up for the next step in asylum, create a criminal bench warrant for those individuals. The first time they have a traffic ticket or something, we know who they are.
Well,
those two steps.
What about catch and release?
Well, that's what they were doing during the last administration, and the Border Patrol didn't want to do that. They were forced to do it because all they could do once someone came through, they've got them right there. They'd have to turn them over to some detention center. Of course, there was no capacity for detention centers, so they would stand in a waiting line, and they were essentially released. That's come to a close.
You know, Senator, a new Fox News poll shows that voters' priorities headed into the midterms this fall are the following. Only 10% of voters say immigration is the most important issue in voting for Congress, while just 5% view border security as important. The economy, health care, these are the most important issues for voters. What does this mean to you, Senator, going into the midterms?
Well, it means to me that this president, look, I know a lot of people really don't like the president. A lot of the media doesn't like the president. But stop and look at three things when you're describing what he has done. Number one, look at the economy. It's unprecedented where we are right now. All the indicators are on our side. Number two, and I know this because I've been the ranking member on the Armed Services Committee. What Obama did to the military was just shameful. And we're now rebuilding the military, and it's this president's direction that's causing that. And the third thing is, look at the judges. I mean, we're changing the judicial system where we have quality people who actually believe in the Constitution. If you just look at those three things, between those three things, I think the American people are going to say, my gosh, good things are happening.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the outcomes have been very positive for this president, and I think that's why his detractors are going insane over it. They don't want these positive outcomes. Senator, one of the priorities for this administration, certainly before the midterms, is going to be getting Brett Kavanaugh confirmed. Are you going to vote yes to Judge Kavanaugh?
Oh, of course. Are you kidding? Of course I am. I had a chance to visit with him. It's not just, I'm not a lawyer, but I let the lawyers make those determinations. But I know that he's a very wonderful human being, the things he's done to help friends of his. He had a friend who died, and his widow, every time there's something happening with it, they need to have parents there. He drops everything, goes, takes her kids to the events, and he's just a warm, wonderful person.
But there seems to be a
new... He will be confirmed. There's no question about that.
There's a new pushback from the left, though, right now. You do think you're going to have the votes?
Oh, yeah, we'll have the votes. Well, the votes, first of all, we'll have the Republican votes. But if we're going to pick up some Democrat votes from the endangered species over there, there are about 6 Democrats running in areas where Trump is very popular. And so there'll be a bunch of them, I would assume, that will come over and vote just for their own political future. They'd be smart to do that.
And real quick, Senator, before you go, your thoughts on what's taking place between China and the U.S. Is this getting to be a real trade war right now?
Well, you know, we've gone through Democrats administration, Republican administrations for decades now. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever changes. This president decided we're going to take some drastic action, and I understand that there's some problems. I know we're a big farm state.
Yes.
Some of our exports, we're concerned about that. But when I talk to them, they say, let's clean this thing up and then go back, get on an equal footing, and correct the problem that has not been corrected by Democrats or Republicans. This president's doing it.
All right, we will leave it there. Senator, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Maria.